Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of She Who Remembers. I'm here today with the beautiful Awa. Awa is a certified hypnotist, yoga and meditation teacher, as well as lead teacher at Mimi Yoga's 200-hour teacher trainings in Miami. She has completed over 10,000 hours of experience in mind-body practices and also collaborates at some of Miami's most premier wellness destinations for private sessions and immersive workshops. Ayla, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, my love. You have to tell them that you did our 200-hour yoga teacher training 2 years ago.
Ayla was my teacher at Mimi Yoga's 200-hour teacher training. And it was the most magical year of my life.
So much fun, right? Becoming a yoga teacher, it's priceless. No matter what you do with it.
Even just watching you go into flow and the way that you move, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Beautiful, like the living, breathing practice that you make it. Like you embody it. And it's so wonderful.
It's been a part of my life for about 15 years now. And it's become so immersed into my life. I can't even separate what's yoga, what's not yoga. Like how do you even make a separation? At some point it's like, my life is yoga. I don't even have to go on the mat.
That's so incredible. Just like the way that you breathe and move through the world. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your lineage and the specific medicine that you work with, including yoga, but also everything else that you practice on a daily basis?
Yeah. It's so beautiful that you asked that question. I'm not asked that question a lot. Let me say this, like in the beginning of my yoga teaching, I did not feel like a healer. I found yoga. I was very broken. It was my medicine, obviously, but I didn't feel like I was able to heal or be a healer. The first yoga style that came to me that really, really affected me was Jivamukti Yoga. So when I found Jivamukti Yoga, that's when I started having these like awakenings of feeling happy and at home and at ease in my body for the first time, which I had never felt before. I didn't know there was such a thing. It was incredible. And so through Jivamukti Yoga, which is connected to Ashtanga Vinyasa. So my lineage of yoga is from Ashtanga Vinyasa, from Krishnamacharya, who invented it around 100 years ago. It's like 100 years old, this particular lineage. But then yoga itself is much older, of course. On the other hand, I also became a hypnotist, which happened a little later. So it took me like around 5 years of full-time yoga teaching to just steady myself and my nervous system enough to be receptive to actually do therapy, to actually start working with the mind. And that's when I found hypnosis, and I started changing the way that I talk to myself inside my mind. That's it. You can make it super woo-woo, you can make it very like spiritual, but really what it is, I changed the way I talk to myself. That's it, the way I think about things. At least to me, and for most people, I think 70% of people, they live their lives having like an internal voice. Like that's how you think. There's some people who don't, but most, you too, yeah.
Yes.
So if you live your life with an internal voice constantly in dialogue or monologue with you, then when that voice changes, your life changes. So that happened, it's almost 10 years ago now. And that lineage is interesting, but because the lineage of hypnosis is like, there's no lineage. It's just a bunch of hypnotists all doing their own thing. There's no religion. Everybody can be spiritual, but there is no specific thing attached to hypnosis. So it's incredibly free. And that's when I started feeling free to do what I want to do, right? Because when I was in the lineage of Ashtanga Vinyasa. I was always like trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. What am I supposed to do, right? And this is like a maturity thing a lot of times. When you're younger, that's where you're coming from. You're coming from childhood, from being told. So you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, who's going to give me the answer, right? Like your psychic who like gave you your answer, right? It's like, it's appropriate to be there. But then I think it's also appropriate at some point to find the freedom to realize, no, now I'm becoming the expert on me. Now I know myself so well that no therapist is going to come in and know me better than I know me. No psychic is going to come in and know me better than I know me. And hypnosis gave me that. And that's when I started being much freer in my practice. And also, I felt that I became a healer. That's when I could embody that and be like, okay, I am a healer now. I have healed myself. I am constantly, obviously, still in healing, but I have healed a big part of myself. And so I can hold space for you. Even if you've been through hell, I can hold space for you. It's okay. I can handle it. It's not gonna throw me off.
That is so powerful because it sounds like the hypnotism allowed you to really feel your body and come into your own. And I think
Yes.
some people who don't understand this practice are like, I don't know how to listen to my intuition. I don't know how to feel what's going on in my body and navigate. Like everybody is jumping outside of themselves to kind of get the validation that they're needing or the answer that they're needing
Yeah.
to make whatever decision that they're making seem okay. But it
Yes.
sounds like this practice is just that internal compass that's your light and your guide. It's leading you forward in life.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to somebody who has no idea about this medicine, who wouldn't even know where to start and how to work with it? Like, what would you say to this person on how to kind of navigate that self-talk? Maybe like the first steps into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, two very simple ways would be the first one, if you are ready to confront it a little bit, is to bring out paper and pen and just start free writing. What are your thoughts? What is your thought process? It could be after you meditate if you're already meditating, but it could also just be in general. You wake up, like just paper and pen. What are you thinking about? Maybe it's your dreams, very also useful to access the subconscious mind through dreams. You can write that too. Make it conscious because once you have that awareness, it's so easy to be negative in your mind without any awareness. But once it's on the paper in black and white and it's like, what's wrong with you? Why do you always do this thing? Like things like that you might be saying to yourself, once you see it, it might really stand out and really seem quite offensive. Like, I don't let people talk to me like that. I don't want to surround myself with people talking to me like that. So why would I want to talk to myself like that, right? And it's a habit. And we tend to think of habits as personality. So how we stay the same is by saying, that's just me. I have a really strong inner critic. That's just who I am. I've always been that way. Right. So that's kind of how you commit to staying that way versus put it on paper and say, that's a habit. That's actually an old habit now because I'm going to change it.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible.
It is incredible. And then, so you have the negative paper here, new sheet of paper. What would you want to say instead? What would be more useful? Let's just be like practical about it. Like what would be more useful? Let's say you're doing something you don't want to be doing, but when you say what's wrong with you, it just pushes you down and takes away your self-confidence and you don't have the power to get out, right? It just makes it worse. So what would be actually useful? Think of the opposite. Like what would be beneficial and do that. it's, people think you have to start by really loving yourself and feeling worthy. Loving yourself and feeling worthy actually come as a result of making these changes. Because once you made the changes, you start acting as if you love yourself, and then you get used to that, and that becomes a habit. And then actually, one day you realize, oh my God, I really do love myself, because you're so used to that self-talk, that habit. So it's not a big philosophical, like, go inside and find out, do you really love yourself? I mean, of course you love yourself. It's just you have bad habits,
Oh,
right? So that was number
yeah.
one. That's like the first more confrontational ways to do that. Like, just confront the shit if you're ready, if you feel ready. If you're not ready for that and you're like, oh, I'm so vulnerable right now, like I don't want to like do anything to upset myself, which is valid, because these are two both very good ways. You're like, I don't want to upset myself right now. I feel vulnerable. I just want to feel better. Then you take hypnosis recording. Like, there is a free one on my website that we can list in the notes, but you can do whatever resonates with you. Some people want a male voice with a French accent, you know? So some people want somebody who sounds motherly, like whatever resonates with you, whatever works for you. And you start to listen every night before you fall asleep would be the most potent time. You can listen anytime, but that would be like, because if you listen for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 minutes before falling asleep, so you get that whole um, drifting into dream state when your brain waves go into alpha and theta, and then eventually delta, but it's the alpha and theta brain waves where you're so receptive. And your subconscious mind might pick up these suggestions from the recording and run with them and start having dreams about that. And you might even, like, for the next few hours, continue to reorganize your mind for real.
And so that has to do with like the nervous system being able to catch up with those thought and belief patterns, right?
So the nervous system, to divide it, the nervous system has to be in safety mode. For any change to happen, positive change especially, to happen, yeah, because there could be some negative from being in danger. But yeah, for this kind of positive change to happen, you have to feel safe. So your nervous system has to deem that you are safe, and that's where the yoga comes in. Honestly, so 5 years of yoga for me, like daily yoga practice with meditation or breath work or however you like to do your yoga, right? It doesn't matter. All ways are good ways if it works for you and you want to do it. That reprogrammed my nervous system into safety. Like, I'm safe in my body. Little things like, if something hurts me, I am going to get out of that situation. That's how you create safety. So when you come from difficult childhood, for example, you might not have that because you weren't able to get out of difficult situations. You had to endure, and you become used to enduring. And so let's say, this is just hypothetical, but let's say that you keep going for romantic partners that ghost you. Right? It's very, very painful to get ghosted. And you're like, kind of like over and over again, finding a person that's going to ghost you, or letting the same person do it over and over again. So you're like living in this rejection, which is a very strong sense of danger in your nervous system, right?
Mm.
So when you stop doing that and you start doing yoga instead, like, instead of like looking for somebody to save you, or in this case, really hurt you, but consciously you think they're going to save you, but really they're going to hurt you, you become the savior yourself. You start doing your yoga practice daily. You're like, I'm saving myself. I am that person who's going to make me feel good. I am that person who's going to make me feel loved, right? Through that habit. Again, it's a habit, like a habit of doing yoga, or Maybe it's just walking in nature. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's art. It could be so many things. But in my case, it was yoga. So I used that. And my nervous system got safe because my nervous system at some point realized that I'm not going to let anybody hurt me. Like if somebody starts hurting me, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to ask for something else, right? And it comes in all different forms. It's like you're in a yoga pose and it hurts and you're like, "Oh, I hear you, body. I am going to accommodate," you know? You're in life and something is not good for you. Like you're smoking cigarettes like I used to be. And one day you're like, "You know what? I hear you, body. Like this is not good for you. I am going to take care of you. I'm going to listen to you," right? Um and the more you do that, the more your body, which is your subconscious mind, which is your inner child, crazy enough, these are all kind of the same things, are going to feel safe. Your inner child is going to feel safe. Your body is going to feel safe. Your subconscious mind is going to feel safe. You're going to see it show up in your dreams as much more harmonious dreams and not feeling maybe like angry, paralyzed, afraid, guilty, shame. Those are all like the toxic um, stuff that could come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everybody can relate to that because in some capacity, people have dealt with their own form of trauma where they felt hurt, betrayed. They feel like not at home in their own bodies.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful thing to come back to every day. Like a gentle reminder. You can create safety within yourself. You
Yeah.
just look at your
It is so beautiful because once you have created it yourself, nobody can take it away from you. That's the
Mm,
difference, right? If it was the guy or the partner who saved you, then you're gonna have to, in a way, live in fear of losing this person, right? So when it's you, like I'm with me for life, right? For as long as I live, I'm gonna be here. This is the only thing I know for
yeah.
sure, right? Like I don't know who's gonna come and go in my life, but I know I'm gonna be there.
Yes. So people who come to you for like actual sessions,
Uh-huh.
how are you really able to transform some of these really deep things? Like, what does a session even look like when you undergo the kind of like hypnotism?
Yeah. So when you go into hypnosis, you're in a very relaxed, calm state, and it makes it easier to access deeper emotions and thoughts that perhaps you were not aware of. So it does that work of bringing it out, right? Like you can imagine that you're in a deep meditation, but instead of silence, I'm talking to you. I'm asking you questions. And of course, I am just sitting in the back seat. It's like you're driving the car and I'm sitting in the back seat and I'm just kind of like trying to guide you to where you need to go. And you're the one really who's exploring, right? It's your mind. But I have to talk to you so I can follow, like, where are you going in your mind? What do you need? And very common questions are just, what are you feeling in this moment? Maybe you're back in your childhood, maybe you're back in an old situation. And the question is, what are you feeling? Because to be able to recognize the feeling is amazing. This might be a feeling that you've run away from because it was too big. Like back then, when you were a kid, this feeling was too much and you had to stuff it away. So now you're an adult. Exactly. We've all done that, right? Things that feel like too much, we do that. So now that you're an adult and you're in a very safe situation and you're very relaxed, you're able to bring it out. You're able to see the feeling, oh, wow, that was so overwhelming. I felt so upset. And then the next question is always going to be, what do you need? If you're 5 years old, what do the 5-year-old Antonia need? And it's amazing how resourceful we are because just like we're able to bring that old feeling up, we're also always able to see, I need to feel safe. I need to feel loved. I need a friend. I need a parent to be there for me. It's it's not so much that I have answers because I really don't. It's more that I have questions and I can lead you towards where the gold is, let's say. You know, the gold is the healing. It's like it's always about the healing. Very, 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 very seldom, almost never do people really relive the difficult stuff, like, because a lot of people, they don't want to do therapy or they don't want to do hypnosis because they don't want to relive the difficult stuff, which is very normal, right? But that doesn't really
Yeah.
happen. So what happens is that there's a new version of that event. In hypnosis, we create a whole new version of that event. Like, it's never to just relive it in the old horrible way that wasn't good in the first place, right? There's a new event because now Antonia is not alone anymore. Now her best friend is there and hugging her, or her mom came home early and saved her, or, there's like so many different scenarios that we change it. But after it's changed, the new version of this memory is now the only version in your subconscious mind because your memory is so interesting. So memories are like that. So every time you pull up a memory, you're probably going to change it a little bit without even wanting to. That's the problem with having witnesses of something that happened 10 years ago. The more times they thought about this event, the more changed it's going to be. So, you hear somebody say, "Oh, I know exactly what happened. It was 10 years ago, and I think about it every day." Well, every day you pull up that file, it changes a little bit. Maybe now there's a red car going by, and by mistake, the red car goes into the memory, right? Maybe today you're feeling a certain way, and that feeling goes into the memory. And the memory is like a Word document, and it's only the last version. Your old versions of your Word document, is it still like that? Maybe I'm old, but it used to be like that,
No, yes, yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes, yeah.
So the Word document, you only see the latest version. So after we go back and Antonia, who was 5 years old, I'm just making this up, who
Yeah.
were feeling alone, doesn't feel alone anymore because she's hugging her best friend. And every time now you think of that memory, you're going to feel your best friend hugging you. It's incredible.
Oh my goodness. This is crazy because I think this is one of the biggest, like, I don't know if I want to call it a lesson, but one of my biggest kind of like realizations in life is your past doesn't have to be your past. You can rewrite it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that till very recently, and hearing you speak of this, it's like your past is only your ego telling this story of a self that was your perception in the first place of the event. But then being able to hear that we can recreate those memories and change the past so that that didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
It's very, very incredible for healing some of the deeper wounds and the more traumatic things that have happened in your childhood or just in your life.
I would go as far as saying that I think that is the only healing, really. That is how healing works. Yeah. It's like I try to sometimes I try to remember because I remember it used to be so painful to think about my childhood. And the pain is not there in the same way. There could be, of course, there could be a new memory that pops up because your subconscious mind does hold on to things. And then when you think everything is good, it's like, no, wait, now you can deal with this one, right? So that could happen. But a lot of the ones that have already loved my inner child so much and so hard and like really like made her feel so supported that I don't even remember the old feeling. It's crazy, right?
Literally crazy because you're also then not storing trauma in your body. That's a way that it is being released.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no disease state in the mind and the physical. Do you see a pattern in the people that you work with where people are gripping too tightly and holding on and not ready to let go? Or is it just completely
Yeah.
just about all?
Some people are not ready. and it's not the right, maybe, situation for them. Maybe they are not completely comfortable with me, you know? Because
Mhm.
it's only gonna work when they're completely comfortable with me. I have to be there, right? So I like to go to them, so they're in their home, on their sofa, they're very comfortable in that way. But if they feel that my presence in some way is not then it's not gonna work. And I stopped working with men for this reason. I don't do hypnosis with men. I did it in the beginning, and I had
I love this.
I had so many I had several experiences. Men that instead of going there and doing the work, they said things that to impress me. Kind of like how men a lot of times when there is a woman around, they just can't let go, right? Um,
Yeah.
or even the last session I ever did with a random man, he went sexual, like I was so uncomfortable. I was like, okay, that's it. No, no more working with men for me. Like,
There's something so deep to say about that because I won't work with men either
yeah,
at in my business because I think especially when you are a woman and a healer and you are making people feel good, you are healing them, you are showing them what is possible. I think specifically with men who tend to not be in integrity, that just opens them up and it becomes something so different. It's not about the healing anymore. It's about your light and kind of what they can take in. And this is a hot take. I don't mean to call anyone out or anything,
yeah,
but this is just a pattern that I've even witnessed in my own work where I have had to make the same decision as you of like, I need to protect this space and the integrity of this space. And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's totally okay, and I feel great about it. Like, I feel great. I mean, I'm a girl's girl. I love girls. I love healing women. I mean, I'm sure there are great male hypnotists out there for the guys. Like, I'm not even worried about it. I'm not the one. Like, you can't be for
yeah,
everyone. And yes, it can happen with women too, obviously. Like, it can happen that somebody, and sadly, it might be somebody who's had so much trauma and betrayal and, just can't find safety, like a feeling of safety. And it has happened, of course. It's sad, but the only thing I can do at that point is give them recordings. And sometimes I make specific recordings for them so they can be at home in their bed and just like listen when there's no one there, and they can feel very safe and hopefully start to open up that way.
that's amazing. Now I'm gonna wanna do these recordings. Like, "Hey, well, send them to me."
I'll send you some recordings for sure. And for anybody listening, I mean, there's a free one on my website that's lovely. It's like going on vacation, like it's like traveling to Greece and the beach.
So I'll definitely link it in the show notes too for everybody to be able to listen to it.
Yeah, perfect. And there's so much now. There's so many recordings out there. Yeah.
That can really get you to this place of just being able to rewrite the past.
Oh, yeah. Because when you're almost falling asleep, that's the time. You're naturally in a hypnotic state. You don't have to get hypnotized. Every time you're about to fall asleep, you're there. Same thing when you're just waking up.
And are there different forms of hypnotism, like, maybe that are outside of this, or is it pretty much just, like, streamlined, it's being in this safe.
It's such a free for all because there is no one lineage. There is no, like, I mean, there is the Ericksonian hypnosis, which is Milton Erickson was a really good therapist and hypnotist, and we all kind of follow him a little bit because he made it very conversational. So instead of it being, I'm going to read a script and the script is going to be the same for everyone, which is more hit or miss, right? Like that script may not work for you. He made it more conversational and he started to use whatever images you have in your mind, which is how I work too, which is, I think, the better way to work is you have to find out, like, what is the scene inside this person's mind? How do they think about things? It's not about how I think about things. It's about how they think, right? So you go in there and you try to understand them from the inside and guide them through that. So that's Ericksonian hypnosis, like conversational hypnosis. There's this famous example of there was like terminally ill farmer and he was in so much suffering. Like he was going to die, right? But the problem was that he was in so much pain and nothing worked, and they sent him to Milton Erickson, and he listened to this person and how he talked about his plants and growing his plants as a farmer. And he made this beautiful trance about how a plant, you know, the seed, the sprout, the life cycle, and somehow he like really tapped into this person's way of thinking. And after that session, his pain was gone because it's all about how we're thinking about it, right? Like it's, yeah, I just gave myself chills, but it's like
Yeah.
that, right? So if something is important to you, then that's what we're gonna have to go into for it to work for you.
Wow. And so have you reached a state within your own healing now where you're just able to do this yourself and not go to anybody else if something does happen in your life? Like you're able to just get to the other side of it through your own kind of practice.
I love this question. This is a great question. Yes and no. I think I do it all the time on my own, but also I believe that it's so easy to have these little, like the horses when they're not allowed to look to the sides, like the blind spot. I mean, we're all going to have
Yes.
some blind spots. It's inevitable. And that's when you want some input. And lately I've been doing the tarot for that. Because the tarot, what it does is allows you to tap into your own subconscious mind. So it's not like going to a psychic, like this is not going to tell me the future, but it's going to give me suggestions. And then I have to react to those suggestions, right? Maybe it's not the card I thought I was going to pull. And then I have to, so it's almost like creating that out external input that you need, because you do need that. No man is an island, right? Like you need some external input, and that could be your friends, your therapist, your, your healer, your psychic, your tarot cards. I recently did a really cool thing, a past life regression. Have you ever
Okay,
done
tell me.
that?
I've heard so much about it, and I'm like, I want to journey in this
Yes.
very bad.
So I finally did it because I tried years ago and it didn't work. But now, like the reason also it worked was because it was so lovely. It was a person I knew, and she had like a whole room dedicated with a bed. And you crawl into bed under the covers and the doors are closed. And, talk about like being
Yes.
in a cocoon, right? And she
Yeah.
practiced with Dolores Gannon, who's also a very famous hypnotist, a totally different lineage, but much more like spiritual past life. And so she gave me that, and I went back. And one thing that she said that was so important was she was like, you're going to feel maybe that you're just making stuff up, but tell me anyways. Just tell me.
Whoa.
And that's so important because when you're in hypnosis, your conscious mind will like come pop in and be like, you're just making this up. Like you're just fantasizing right now. Like stop making shit up. So because she said that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell her whatever it is. Because the first time it didn't work because I did go back, but then I started thinking, I'm just making this up. And I kind of talked myself out of it. This time I went back, and I always had this problem with people's past life regressions that I was like, no, you were not Cleopatra. You were not the
Yeah.
king of. I just always thought like everybody that does a past life regression turns out they're like the king, the queen, the most famous person in history. Like, what about all the normal, regular people? So
Yeah.
that's just me. So of course I went back and I was a potato farmer. And I was pulling potatoes, and she's like, "What are you wearing? Look at your shoes." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm barefoot. Like, I'm so dirty. I'm wearing rags." And she was like, "Oh, wait, what's your home like?" And I'm describing my home. It's like miserable. I'm so dirt poor, like total, like, I think, I'm also from Sweden, and all my ancestors are from Sweden, according to my ancestry. We were like just farmers for many, many generations. So probably that affected me, like in thinking. So I had several lives like that. I was different gender. I was man, I was a woman, I had kids, I had no kids. I was like even like trying to get all the farmers together to do some kind of revolution to get the prices up so we would get paid more. And then I was in jail, stuff like that. But then the last life she took me back because she didn't give up because I think she felt that, there's got to be something yummy in there. Like that's not
Yeah.
just potatoes and barefoot. And I was a witch. I was sitting with all my witchy herbs and stuff and like amulets and I was really old. I was like a really old woman preparing to die, but I was so happy, Antonia. I was so happy to be a
Yeah.
witch. I mean, witch, I was a medicine woman. Like I was a medicine woman. I was somebody who was healing. I was a healer. And this was probably really way back. Like it felt like this was very, very way back, but it was so inspiring and it felt so good. And it gave me that like grounding into my feeling of being a healer and working with medicine. Yeah.
So did you get any confirmation in that of like your soul contract that you signed for this incarnation and the healing work you're doing in this lifetime from those? Like, was there a thread that kind of revealed something in that sense?
I think there wasn't that much of the purpose, to be honest. We did ask a lot of questions. I'd made like a list of questions that she asked me for my higher self. And a lot of the answers were so funny. They were just like, well, that's why you're here to figure that out. It wasn't like, yeah, we're going to give you the answers. No, I did not get. And like one thing that I really wanted to know, and this is really personal, but I really wanted to know how to handle the situation with my mother because I haven't talked to my mother in years. And like, what should I do? I wanted like answers, and my higher self was just like, well, you can do whatever you want. You have a choice. And it was so funny because this is what I always remind other people. Like people always come to me, should I get a divorce? Should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, what do you think you should do? Right? Because who am I to tell you? So that's what my higher self did. It just mirrored that straight back to me like, yeah, you do what you want to do. It's your choice.
Wow. And whatever timeline you choose, like, it's perfect. Either way, it's perfect. It's just what is your reality? What do you want to create for yourself? What do you want, your your timeline to look like? You are in
Exactly.
complete control of that.
Exactly. It even went into that. My higher self was saying, you can accelerate things by being less negative and not engage in negative behaviors like when you gossip, when you talk bad about your mother, when you like, kind of like go into that and kind of enjoy that in that negative low vibration. It's fine. You can do that. It's just going to take you longer to get to the next level. And if you stop doing that completely, then it's going to be quicker. But in the end, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. And I was like, because this had been such a like yes or no question to me. Like, is it right? Is it wrong? Should I do it? Should I? And that's the moment where it stopped being a yes or no question and just being about like do you want to be in the higher vibration or do you want to drop down into the lower vibration?
Totally. And thank you for sharing that. That's deeply vulnerable.
Oh,
We do come here with a specific contract of what we set out to do, but that can take on every single variation because of free will.
yeah.
And so sometimes you do come in and it's like maybe you are contracted to clear the maternal lineage from lifetimes. Here I do all like ancestry work. So you came as the cycle breaker. You came to say it ends with me. And
Yeah.
sometimes the whole purpose of that is being no contact, is no communication, and it's beautiful. And that's clean and clear on the other side. They're like, this was the whole point.
Yeah.
You made that decision and your mother made that decision coming into this incarnation. And the energy never dies. You're still like together.
Yes.
It's just in this physical, dense reality. It's just not at this moment. And I think there's beauty in that of knowing like you're going to be reconnected again,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yes, exactly. There's no escape. Yes.
Oh,
There's no escape. It's, yeah. And,
just spiral.
whatever you resist persists. But that was so beautiful how you said that. Yeah, the cycle breaker and this ends with me. And that has felt so much like my role. That has like, I can 100% relate to that. And I think this year is the year that I had to also go back to being more than that because it became my whole life for a few years. It was like I was defined by being the cycle breaker. I was defined by
Mm.
my grandmother's trauma, my mother's trauma. Like it was everything. And part of that past life regression and this year, it's been so amazing to be a little bit like just floating above that. It's a little bit not as important anymore. It's kind of done in a way. Like Rumi is now 8 years old and he never had to deal with it. He has had zero drama. He doesn't have contact with her. So like he's got a whole other childhood. It could have gotten so entangled and so terrible. Um and it didn't. And yeah.
Right. You have those boundaries. And I think being a mother, you get to look at what did I experience? What was my experience? And how do I not pass this on to my child?
Yeah.
So, like, what has the journey of motherhood been like for you, having experienced your experience in childhood and then now having like your literal own son?
Yeah. It's been
Beautiful.
it's been the best. And I don't know, Antonia, but I want to actually say this to the people listening because I feel like this is the side of the story that you don't get much. I think for a lot of cycle breakers, having their own children is the best thing to ever happen because, we can feel the opposite way. We can feel that I don't want to have a child because I'm going to perpetuate the cycle, right? And a lot of people
Yeah.
that had really hard time growing up, they end up not having kids for that reason. Maybe sometimes for the best, I don't know, but I just want to give my um point of view, which is that it's been the best thing ever because I never had a childhood where I was connected to my mother and loved and protected by her and like comfortable with her and able to share with her. So having that with Rumi, my child, and it doesn't matter what side you are in this relationship, this is how it's been for me. Like there's a mother and a child, right? It doesn't matter if you're the mother or the child, it's still the same feeling in the relationship. So I never had it. And then I had it. And it's like the best thing ever in the whole world. It's the best. I've enjoyed it so much. And I've actually have some clients who are the same situation, very bad relationship with their mother specifically. Um, and they love being mothers. They just love it so much. And let's be fair, you really come into motherhood with zero expectation because they put the bar so low. so incredibly low. It's like if you don't hate your child, you're already doing great, because they hated us, like they wanted bad for us, right? So
Yes.
like just holding my baby in my arms for the first time and realizing how much I loved him, it was like I already knew this is going to be a totally different experience. Like, this is so different, right? Like, so I think we're able to, I'm thinking a lot about one specific friend I have. We're able to enjoy motherhood a lot and be very laid back and have a lot of fun with it because, again, the bar was so low. And then if you had this amazing mother, let's say you had the best mother, she was 10 out of 10 amazing. You're going to feel some pressure when you become a mother, I think. And I see that too. So everything has its pros and its cons. If your mother was the best and now you're trying to follow in her footsteps and you have a lot of pressure on you, right? That's hard too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how much hold does she still have over your life and how is she telling you how to parent because she knows best? Whereas if you're disconnected from your mother, you have nobody telling you
Nothing.
how to navigate anything. You're deciding within yourself, and there's so much power in that.
Seriously. Imagine, so I'm born and raised in Gothenburg, Sweden, and I live in Miami, Florida. I mean, it's like it's two different worlds. Like nobody from my childhood is anywhere near me, right? Like not even that. A lot of your childhood actually lives in the geographical location. Like if you go back to the house you used to live or the street you used to walk on, the school you used to go to, like that will really bring up memories, right? Like our subconscious mind is so connected to location. So when you completely change your location and you have nobody from then around you, you have no, no place that reminds you even like, there's palm trees instead of the birches that I grew up with. So, so it's been a total flipping the switch. Like he literally has a completely different childhood. It is extremely different. There's some similarities, obviously, but it's extremely different. And so good for me. I tried the first 3 years, I tried only speaking Swedish with him, which is what you're supposed to do. Everybody will tell you, give him Swedish. He'll be fluent in Swedish. Just talk Swedish. Okay. So for 3 years, I did it. And one day, I just stopped. It was the best day. The best day. I was like, I'm just going to talk to him. And English is my language that I'm whole and happy. Swedish is the language where I was suffering, right? So it's like, do I really need to give him this? Do I really need to use the same language my mother used when she was being manipulative or abusive towards me? Or should I just switch to English and everything is fresh and new and we're starting over? So we did that, and I'm still paying for it with all the people that are like, why didn't you teach him Swedish? Why? It would have been so easy. It would have been free. And I'm like, you don't know the cost. There's always a cost, and the cost in this case was too high. It's too high cost.
Oh my goodness. My brain's like, what? Because language is so potent. And the fact that that had ties to your childhood, it's like you were essentially kind of carrying that on without even realizing it in the beginning, thinking you were doing something good, but it was old conditioning
Yeah,
through
exactly.
language. Like, that's great.
Exactly.
That's profound.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You're like,
just like a little reminder to people listening, if you meet people and they didn't give their kids their first language, go easy on them because you don't know the backstory. Like a lot of immigrants that had a lot of suffering, and maybe they don't feel like they want to share that with their kids. So there's layers.
and I also think it's from the sounds of what you're saying is just having grace with motherhood and knowing I'm not going to be perfect every single time or in every single situation. I can pivot at any point when these realizations come up of where can I change here over here and just create a different reality.
Oh my God. That's the best quality for a mother because you're going to make mistakes. It's the most impossible task in that way. Like it's a task that you cannot perfect. You just can't. So there's going to be mistakes, and part of the problem with my mom was that she was not willing to admit mistakes ever. And she was not willing to be honest about her feelings. Like I think I never ever knew what she was really feeling or really thinking, especially about me. Like it was all just her trying to pretend to be the person that would look good on the outside, right? It's such a
Yeah.
trap. It's such a trap. It's so sad. I feel so sad for her, more and more. I used to be more angry, but I feel so sad that she has to live her life like that. How much suffering that is.
And it's very destabilizing as a child to grow up in that and not have the unconditional love. It's like love with conditions. And then you try and figure out why relationships and friendships look a certain way. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's because it was reflected in my home growing up. And I think our parents didn't know how to navigate their own trauma. So they just held it, suppressed it,
Yeah.
and then it was actually like projected onto you
Yeah.
without that maybe whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
But they do the work beforehand. So it's like you're still living that same pattern that they're still to say like trapped in. That's like suffocating.
Yeah, and I love that you make this point because imagine if I was born 1955. I was born 1981, right? But imagine if I was born same year as my mother, 1955. Same person, same soul, same incarnation, same DNA, but different time, right? Would I have done this journey? Sometimes I even wonder, would I even have done this journey had I not come to Miami? Because I moved to New York. When I was 25, I left Gothenburg and I moved to New York. I wanted to be in New York City. I wanted to be a crazy artist.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the healing was nowhere on my map. It wasn't. I just wanted to go and express myself and be artistic and be another person. I knew I wanted to be another person, but I didn't know about the healing yet. And then randomly, I came to Miami and yeah, like it's so easy to take credit. Like I'm the cycle breaker. I did this, but there's a lot of random events that sometimes I like to humble myself by thinking, there are parallel lives where you made different choices.
No, it's so real. And I don't think people realize that. It's like when the healing doesn't present itself to you, it's terrifying. It can be scary, but like run towards it, do it, and it's not so terrifying once you're sitting in front of it and sitting with it and be in that state of grief or anger, whatever is coming up. It's a lot scarier to think about it versus just like
Much
taking action.
scarier to think about it. And to be honest, I've had very few healing experiences that weren't just lovely and amazing. Like I've had a lot of hurting experiences that sucked when I was hurting, but like when I was healing, that's always been very positive. And that's how you start shifting your mind when you realize that, oh, healing feels good. It's the trauma that feels bad. Healing the trauma feels good, right? Even just something like doing the EMDR, which is the best technique for PTSD. I mean, I found it like a big exhale, like letting go of all tension. Like I didn't find it upsetting, but I guess maybe at that point I was so used to going there. It's the first time you go back to a place where you never allowed yourself to go. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. There are people who don't remember their childhood. Like they have barely any memories. It's all just, yeah. And it's a lot to start the journey. It's a lot to start. Once you have momentum, it feels fun and easy, and you're like, yay, I'm on a healing journey. It's amazing. I love it. I want to share it with the world. But yeah, we have to remember that starting it is a big deal. It's a really big deal.
It's really brave, and it's being able to be so honest with yourself. Hi.
This is my 8-year-old son popping into the picture. Hi, Remy.
Hi, Rumi. We're talking about you.
We were just talking about you.
He's
He's
so
reading. He's
precious.
obsessed with reading. He's in that age.
Good.
Yeah.
Reading is a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Do you have a message for us, Rumi?
Do you have a message for us? Something you want to share with the people
Words
listening?
of wisdom.
No. Okay.
Silence is beautiful too. We're just graced by your presence. Thank you for everything that you've shared. This has been so beautiful.
It's so fun
Is
to
there
talk with
anything?
you.
Yes, you
Yes.
do. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? Whether it just be about your work, the medicine, the healing journey, or just like where we're at energy wise, today or in 2026. And then how can people connect with you, and what exciting things do you have coming up that people can join?
Yeah. So please connect with me on Instagram. It's EWA_hypnosis. And my website is my whole name .com. And I have a lot of classes in Miami always. So if you're in Miami, message me, and you can also try the recording. We'll put the free recording and hope to connect with new people through this. I would love that. And, the advice for the times is we have to raise the energy. That's what I'm feeling this year. Like we have to raise the energy. It's all about the person to person connection. Like you can't have a connection with the whole Republican Party or Democratic Party or the whole population of Iran or whatever is going on. Like you have to focus on the connection with other people and what you can do locally with the people that you're actually in contact with, like your sphere of influence. This is it. This is everything, right? And be the person that is above all the disagreement. It gets so old. I think when I was younger, I thought there was more right or wrong, and now I'm feeling like this is never going to end. There is no end point where people are going to stop disagreeing. We're just going to have to rise above. That's what I'm feeling. And that's what I'm doing day to day. And then I read the news and I'm like, I don't even want to read the news right now. Like, how can I influence this? I cannot, but I can go out and influence everybody that I meet by talking to
Yes.
them, you know? Be open to them, listen to them. They have their own story. Everybody has their own story. We all come to the conclusions we come to for a reason. There's always a story. It always makes sense. Actually, this is probably how I first learned this, is by working one-on-one with people and realizing that everybody's story makes sense in their mind. And once you're able to go there and see it from their point of view, it makes perfect sense. It always makes perfect sense. People don't just decide, I'm going to be an asshole, I'm going to do the wrong thing. No, there's a story, there is a belief, there is a way that it
Always,
all makes sense. Yeah.
always. Thank you so much for sharing that. People literally need to hear and understand and digest this, because separation is the illusion. And if we just show up in love every day in our communities and just in our embodied state, it's like that is doing more than enough to make such a global impact.
Yeah. That's the power we do have. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Ayo, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you
So
so
good
much.
to see you, my love. I hope I see you soon. Big hug.
Oh, we'll have everything linked in the show notes. And yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you for listening, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Mm.